So I went into congestive heart failure. I had fluid on my lungs, and the fluid on my lungs surrounded my heart, slowed down my heart rhythm, and actually my heart stopped twice. Um, it was a very trying time for me, very humbling experience, because here I am, I'm an 18-year-old athlete in great shape, but yet here I am, I have this heart condition. It's like, where did this come from? How did this happen? And the doctor was saying maybe some kind of viral infection or whatnot. Um, but it scarred me emotionally because it took away the game of football from my life. And at that time, that's all I knew. Like, that was my meal ticket. Football is all I had. That was my way that I was going to get my degree. That was my way that I was going to go to the NFL and take care of my family financially. But when it was taken away from me, man, it was like I had nothing. So it was hard. It was hard. It was a hard transition. But again, it got to a point, man, when I was missing the game so much that I was like, man, I felt like I had more to give. And I didn't want I didn't want football to end on somebody else's term. I wanted to end on my terms to where I can walk away from the game, man, not the game just being stripped away from me like that. And, I prayed to God, man, and I told God that I said, Lord, if you allow me to come back and play the game again, then I promise you that I will serve you for the rest of my life. And I was going to do everything I could physically and mentally to get back in shape so that when that time did came that I would be ready. And I didn't know if he was going to allow me to come back and play or not, but I had faith enough to believe that he would provide that opportunity. And I said, if you give me the opportunity, I'm taking it. So, and at this time, this is when I had a defibrillator that had put a defibrillator in my chest. So I would work out, man. I would work out sometimes, and my defibrillator would go off on me. Like, literally, it would pop, shock me. In a mid, I would be mid stride, and then all of a sudden, I hit this pop, and it dropped me to my knees, man. It almost felt like a deer just kicked me in my chest. But I got back up and I kept going, and I went to go see the doctors, and I told them, like, hey, man, this thing went off inside my chest. And I was like, oh, we didn't know you was gonna be working out. We only had the setting up to a certain amount to where your heart rate would get to a certain amount. It would shock it because it thought that your heart was going into some kind of funky rhythm. So they ended up upping the level of my heart rate to where I can, be physically active. So I started grinding, and I told God, man, I was literally willing to die um, to come back and play the game. That's just how much faith I had in God to where he would allow me to come back. But I said, even if I die, then I'll die doing something that I believed in. And I believe that he will allow me to come back. And I told God, man, that, when he allowed me to come back, I promised him that I would give him all the glory, all the credit, all the honor for it. And, 2 years later, man, they took the defibrillator out, and I was back on the field, man. I had to get cleared through our doctors up at Central. But they, they cleared me to play, and I was back on that field again. And it was so worth it. Everything that I had to go through, even in the midst of losing my father in that time. The very next year, my father died. I was back at school the next week in Michigan as if nothing ever happened, far away from my family. Those are the kind of things that I had dealt with, man, the traumatic experiences over and over again, and I never got counseling for it. I was use this example as it's almost like slavery where one day, here you out in this field and you working, you picking cotton. Then the very next day, they say that you're free. Go do whatever you want to do in life. You're free now. You've been a slave for 30 years, and then all of a sudden you're free. Then you've been raped, you've been abused, you've been mentally abused, emotionally abused, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you're free. Now you don't know what to do. Now you're free, but yet you're still in bondage because you need some help. You need some help trying to find your way on, okay, how do I transition into this lifestyle of once I was a slave, now I'm free. Even though I'm free, what does freedom look like? How do I handle, I still got these scars inside of me and replaying these things in my mind that happened. How do I get through that? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that, what I went through, man. So, and it's only by the grace of God, man, that I'm here today, physically, mentally, emotionally, all that good stuff, man. I'm in a good place, man. I got 2 kids now. I have a 7-year-old son, and a 4-month-old daughter. Glory to God to that. My wife, man, she stuck with me through thick and thin. She was there for me, man, through it all. And I'm grateful for it. And I can truly say, man, if it had not been for sports, I don't know where I would be. And I say that because I think about the times that we played University of Michigan, when we played at Georgia, University of Georgia, in front of 90-something thousand fans. We played at Penn State in front of 100,000 fans, and everybody's rooting against you. You know, they up 40. I remember we went to Penn State, and they up like 42-3. You know, and we just getting hammered. You know what I mean? But and we at their stadium, and we probably had maybe 1,000 people there to their 105,000. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that adversity, being in that atmosphere, made me understand that in life sometimes, man, you're going to have a lot of things coming at you, a lot of things that's going against you. But there may be still a few people that's in your corner, man, and you just got to remain focused. And just because you may lose a game, that doesn't mean that your season is over with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So just like I remember the 2007 season, man, when we played, I think it was Clemson, and we got smacked. It was like 70-10 or something crazy. It was crazy. And we got smacked. But just because we lost that game, we didn't lose the season, and we ended up being MAC champions that year because we didn't give up, man. So, and that's how I use my life as an example of just because there's a season of transition or I may have a bad game in my life, that doesn't mean that my life is over with.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So you just got to find ways to keep going and keep moving, strategize, go back and watch film on your life and see, all right, this is where I messed up at. I blew this coverage, or I missed this snap. I jumped off sides.
Mm-hmm.
If I could eliminate these penalties, I could have kept myself closer in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm studying the enemy. You know what I mean? I'm studying the opponent, finding out what their tendencies are. Same thing in life, man. We got to study our opponent, but also learning ourselves, watching film on ourselves, learning who we are and how can we get better so that when we do get back on that field again, that we're prepared. We've seen this before. Like, I remember last practice or last game on this play, I went to the A gap when I knew I should have stayed in my C gap. Mm-hmm. Now I'm ready for it. You know what I mean? So, so that's how the game of football has actually helped me.
Mm-hmm. Man, kind of in some final remarks, you know, just speak specifically to athletes, either current or former, and just, man, give them some words of wisdom to encourage them for life after sports.
Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those that love God and those that are called according to his purpose. If you don't remember anything else, just remember, man, it's working for your good. No matter what, you always have to have this mindset of being optimistic about life, because life is gonna happen. You know, you're gonna have some difficulties, you're gonna have some struggles and some things you're gonna have to get through. But that's the thing, you get through it. You know, the word says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadows of death. You know, death may surround you, but you got to go through it. You know, you can't go around it, you can't go over it. You have to go through it, because it's in a process is when you really learn and when you really grow and when you really become that man and that woman that you see yourself being. It's not at that mountaintop experience. It's in the valley when you're being pruned and when you're being molded and when you're being shaped. And those are the moments that make you strong. So again, remember that no matter what you're going through, it's going to work out for your good in the end. You just got to get through it. Don't give up. Don't give in. Press through. Keep people out your business. Tell as little people as possible what you're doing, because sometimes people can talk you out of your dreams and aspirations and things you want to do. And just know in your heart, you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. So stay prayed up, and God bless.
Wow. Let's just take a moment and give Tron a big round of applause, because that was a powerful story. That was an amazing testimony. Literally going from having congestive heart failure, which should have been a career-ending sickness or illness. Wasn't an injury, but he just had a sickness and an illness. And then his father dying in that same moment. And he got to the point where he started to bargain with God. God, if you would just heal me, enable me to play again, I'll serve you for the rest of my life. That's how bad he wanted to play at the next level. But then God gave him peace, that he had something more for him, something different for him. And God can give you, former athlete, that same peace. He can give, if his athletics, if your career is coming to an end, God can give you that same peace that he gave to Tron, because God is the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. So that's the message that this ministry wants to send. But I need your help to do it. I need your prayer partnership. I need you to share this video. I need you to share with me stories of people who are transitioning out of sports, who are maybe in sports and they're thinking about their life after athletics. They don't have to have a horror story or anything like that. Maybe they're just considering the fact that they're going to transition out of sports. I want to know how they're handling it. I want to know what they're doing so that I can share their story with other people, just to start getting people talking about this. We're not talking about this enough. Tron mentioned in his interview, you might not have seen it in the shorter clip, but it is in the longer interview. But Tron mentioned that bigger schools have the budget to talk about this thing. They have player engagement. They have a full-time salary people who can work with athletes and say, listen, here's what life after sports is going to look like. But smaller schools don't necessarily have that budget, and they're not talking to the little leagues. And so not everybody has a full-time staff member to be able to have that conversation. And even then, they may not be talking about it in the way that this ministry is talking about it. And so I want to be another voice in that space. I want to come alongside of people and help, because there's millions of athletes. It's like the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And I want to be another worker in that space, but I need your help to do it. I need you to pray. I need you to share, and I need you to give. Partner with me financially. I'm trying to raise $20,000 to get this ministry off the ground and running. $20,000 is going to help me with the to get the brand established, to make it a legal entity, to make sure that I have my copyrights, to get my ebooks and my training materials printed and published. It's going to help with the promotion and marketing to get it off the ground. $20,000 is going to help as I start to spread the word, go to those programs who don't have a budget, who are in need. And so $20,000 is going to help me to get that off the ground and running. There's already been people who have given. Maybe you're watching this and you have already gave, but maybe you feel like, okay, your check came back and you've got some more to spare. I need your help to be able to get this ministry off the ground. So I thank you for believing in me. I thank you for caring about the athletes. I thank you for caring about this ministry. I thank you for your desire and your passion to help others. I'm excited to share the testimonies of lives being impacted because of your generosity. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pray, give, share. I love you guys. Until next time, this is Testimony Tuesday.